All right, Matt, the etrailer, if you're looking for a bike rack, that's going to be great. If you're just getting into biking and you don't want to throw your bikes in the bed of your truck because either you have things already in there or you don't want them to be a mess when you're trying to get them out, then the CURT Bike Rack is going to be a great fit for your 2017 GMC Sierra 1500. So what I'm really going to be focusing today is how this rack is going to interact with the truck. So the first point we can start with is how the bike's looking on here. So even with a larger mountain bike, there's going to be plenty of room to sit here. If you're on some bumpy roads and this is moving around some, it's going to be far enough where it's not going to make contact with your tailgate. And speaking of that tailgate, the only way we can lift that or open it is if we tilt the bike back. And that's what's pretty nice about this, is we're still going to get that tailgate clearance. What we have to do to do that though is pull 2 pins. There's going to be this larger one up top. I find if you push on it some, lift up on it, well, it's easier to take out. There's going to be a smaller one beneath there, same process. And now we can just tilt this back. And sometimes you might have to reorient your pedals. If my pedal was in the down position, it'd get in the way. But in the up position, it'd be right out of the way. And even when I press down on here, we're not going to be making contact with anything. We'll get close, but we won't make contact. That's going to be great if you need to take anything out of your truck so you can load it or unload it. And once we're done with that, we can just push this back up and put those pins back into place. I like to put the one in on the bottom first. And this here can be a little bit tricky sometimes, especially if you have 2 bikes on here, because this is going to have a max capacity of 45 pounds per bike. So with 2 45-pound bikes on here, it can be a little bit tricky. With 1 pin on to the next one. But once I finish this up, we can talk about how to take this off. So how to remove your bike is actually a really simple process. All we have to do here is come up to these hooks. You're going to notice they have some locks on them, so it's going to have that extra security. Just press on that once it's unlocked. Push up, and if I try to push up all the way, it's not going to come completely off, so keep that in mind. And with that pushed up, out of our way, I can just lift on the bike and take it out for a ride. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit tricky to get to, but if you work with it, you can get it off. Now, you'll probably notice this was making direct contact with the frame of the bike, so this isn't going to be great for your carbon frame bikes. Or if you want to go with an alternative frame bike, just watch out and make sure that you're not going to be in a position where it's going to have trouble grabbing onto. If you are worried about it, you can check out some of our bike adapter bars. And here at the bottom, you'll notice we do have these cradles. These do have the ability to loosen up and slide into place to accommodate different wheelbases or different size bikes. Now with our bike off, I can put this in the lower position. So to do that, we're going to have a pin right here. I'll remove that and lower this down. Just like so. If I let it fall down all the way, it's going to look like this. Let's make sure we put that pin through here. There we go. And clip it into place. Now let's get a couple measurements. So when you're driving around, you are going to have a little bit of a rise to this, so this sits up a little bit higher. So our lowest point is probably going to be right here at about 27.5 inches. So this is something where you're not going to make ground contact even when you're going up those steeper slopes. Now the next measurement I want to get is going to be the total distance away from our bumper. I'm actually going to go from this cradle here, and that's going to be about 29 inches. So if you're in those tight spots like a parking spot or garage, definitely keep an eye on this. And the reason why I didn't go all the way back from these hooks here is that's going to be if you have this unloaded. And if you have it unloaded, you can actually fold it up. To do that, all I have to do is come over here, pull this clip again with a larger pin, and pull on it. Then we'll just rotate this up until it sits like this. Put that pin back through there. And then we can rotate that clip. I will say the tolerance on here sometimes can be a little bit tight, but After a little bit of work, we have it in place. And now from our back bumper, this is going to be sitting at 17 inches. So that's going to save you a lot of room. Now in this position, it is going to block a few things. So our license plate right here is going to be just partially obstructed. You'll be able to see a little bit on either side. And for your backup camera, you'll notice this bar here is going to line up directly with it. So that will also be partially obstructed. So if you're having any concerns with that, I recommend using your back window. You can also lower these down if you want to make sure you can see a little bit better from your back window, and your tail lights won't be obstructed either. And the way this is going to install is we're going to have a 1.25" shank that goes into our 2-inch hitch receiver. The way that's possible is because we have a 2-inch sleeve adapter on here to make it work. And we'll have an anti-rattle bolt that goes through and connects to a clip on the other side. And what that's doing is when I go to shake this, it's not really moving because it's holding everything in place, binding it up to make sure it doesn't make any noise when you're driving around. Now, in my opinion, I think this is going to be a pretty solid option if you are just kind of getting into riding and you want something that is just going to transport your bike from point A to point B. Now, let's say you have a family, you're taking them around. Having only 2 bikes on here might be a little bit of an issue for you. If that's the case, I'd recommend the Benton Shift Show, because that's going to be another more economic option when you're first kind of getting into biking, but it's going to have the ability to carry 4 bikes, and it's going to be a hanging style rack. That one, in my opinion, is a little bit easier to work with, and it is going to be more affordable than this one right here. But of course, if you guys have any other questions, let us know here at eTrailer. And again, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching.